What's going on, you guys? Ryan Quillen here, also known as the Mess Man, and today we have a top 20 list on the top 20 best decorations in Monster Hunter World. Now, keep in mind that this list is heavily opinionated, and if you disagree, it's completely fine. Just leave a detailed and intelligent, I can't stress enough, intelligent argument to why you disagree with the list below. Also note that this list discounts the rarity of the decoration, pretending that all rarity levels are the same and rarity level does not matter, and also that the specific decorations that I will bring into question will also receive extra brownie points for being useful for a wider range of skills and playstyles as well as weapons. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Number 20 on the list is the Fortitude Jewel. Now, the Fortitude Jewel is a rarity 5 single slot jewel, small jewel, as you can see. Every time you get carted away, it'll increase your attack by 10% and your defense by 50%. It stacks twice, and it's a nice jewel to have for, beginners, beginners to mid-level hunters, Helps with your survivability and your DPS. Not bad at all. Alrighty, number 19 on the list is the Force Shot Jewel. Now, the Force Shot Jewel is a rarity 8 large jewel, and as you can see, it increases the power of normal ammo and normal arrows. Now, in most situations, this will be used more on the bows than on bow guns, because most of the time you are shooting with normal arrows. So why not an extra little bit of DPS? Why not, right? Always nice to have. Alrighty. Now, number 18, we have the Expert Jewel. Now, the Expert Jewel is a great filler for beginning to mid-level hunters. It is a rarity 6 small jewel, and as you can see, it increases the affinity by 3, 6, and then after level 3, it'll be by 4 to 5 points, so it goes from 6 to 10, which is a 4% increase of affinity, then from 10 to 15, then so on and so forth. After that, it'll increase it by 5 as stated, which is nice, good fillers, but there are both things to have in the spot. But it also is, as stated, very nice to have an affinity increase, without having any rigmarole attached to it. Now, number 17 on the list is the Magazine Jewel. Up here. Now, it increases the loading capacity of 1 and giving you start off with 5 flails if you use a charge blade or a gun lance. So whenever you do the super attack with the charge blade, instead of 5, you'll have 6. So it'll give you an extra 20% damage, for the super attack. Or lets your charge go into the shield or the sword 20% longer. So it's nice to have, I like it. I use the charge blade. I'm trying to get better at it. My main weapons are the longsword, the hammer, the great sword, just really heavy DPS weapons. That's my thing, Charge blade, it should be up there, but I just can't get down the counterpoints, or whatever you call them, And I really need to get better with it. I've seen people do most of their speed runs off of it, and I want to be on that level, But it, like all things, does take a lot of work. Alright, back to the list. Number 16 on the list is the earplugs. Now, this is one of the more extremely common decorations. It's rarity 6, and you'll see a large white 3-spotter decoration, I should say, all the time, and pray to God that before you run over to it, it'll be a handicraft. But more often than not, it's either a tremor, or I should say a brace gem, or an earplug gem. But an earplug is good, As you can see, after you get up to level 5, it nullifies weak and strong monster roars. So if you go heavily in the Basil guys, department as far as armor goes, and equip a few of these to fill in the gaps, you can easily get the level 5 nullification of all roars, easily getting a few extra hits whenever monsters roar, especially if that monster roars a lot. Great to have. Moving on, number 15 on the list is the Grinder Jewel. Now, the Grinder Jewel is, I love this thing, you know. It usually takes 4 strokes to... It usually takes 4 strokes to completely get your weapon ready. But... Oops, sorry. Come on. But with the grinder jewel, it takes 1 off each time. So see, with 3 of them equipped, it took 3 cycles off, as opposed to just doing it the old-fashioned way, which with no grinder jewels attached, 1, 2, 3, takes forever. It takes a crazy amount of time. So you better have, you know, if you're playing solo, pray the monster looks at your Palico, or if you're not playing solo, just get really far away and hope the monster doesn't focus its attention on you, because that would be a terrible thing, because it just takes so long, in my opinion. So Grinder Jewel is a nice rarity 6, so it comes in at our 15th place. Now, at our 14th slot, we have the Mighty Bow. Now, Mighty Bow Jewel is great for bow users, and the reason I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this one, for it being so low on the root list, but the reason the Mighty Bow is so low on the root list is because it says exactly that. It's just for the bow class. It says single class jewel. Even the guard jewel, you know, the shield jewel, I should say. It's for multiple things like a guard, you know, but the Mighty Bow is specifically for the bow. But what it does for the bow is great. It gives you a max extra level of charge, which adds more DPS, which is always nice, you know. And people that have this jewel and that use bows never unequip it, you know. It's super glued to a spot permanently on their bow class if they use bows. So it's a great gem to have, but unfortunately it only is specifically for the bow, so it gets the 14th spot on the list. Rarity 7, medium-sized gem. Now, for the 13th spot, we have the where is it? It should be over here. Am I crazy? I was looking the wrong way. I apologize to you guys. Sometimes it can be hard to find these specific, here it is. Yeah, the Draw Jewel. Now, the Draw Jewel, as you can see, for the first one, increases your affinity by 30, 60, then 100 for your first attack only after your weapon has been unsheathed. Now, that's an amazing, you know, amount of, you know, affinity for your first attack, especially, you know, good for greatsword users who usually, since the greatsword is kind of encumbering, you know, put your weapon in the sheath, walk up to an enemy, unsheath to get your first strike in, you know. Easy way to put an easy, you know, amount of large affinity on the board, you know. Easy to get crits. Great jewel to have, rarity 7, 2 slaughter, or medium I should say. And it comes in at number 13. Now, coming in at number 12, we have the Resistor Jewel. Now, the Resistor Jewel is one of my favorite jewels because it nullifies any kind of elemental damage, or elemental status effects, or blights I should say, not damage. It would be amazing if it would completely nullify the damage as well. But as far as thunder, you're paralyzed, fire, you're on fire, water, ice, it messes up your stamina, and dragon, it just messes up your weapon a little bit. It completely nullifies that. It's great to have. But as far as the extended status ailments like blast or poison, blast or poison or a few others, it unfortunately, or bleed, it does not go for extended blights, unfortunately, just the main elemental ones. Now, number 11 is the Protection Jewel. Protection Jewel is very easy to get, rarity 5, you know. It's a small class jewel, and as you can see, there's a chance that it'll decrease damage by 15, then 30, then 50%. That's amazing. That could go with any class, massively improve survivability. Great jewel to have. One of my favorites. Coming in at number 11. Now, coming in at number 10, we have the... Where are you at? the Mighty Jewel. Now, the Mighty Jewel is heavily influenced by the Nergigante set of armor, and as you can see, it increases affinity by 10, 20, and 30% as long as your stamina is full. But as long as you're attacking, your stamina is building up, unless you're running or dashing or doing something crazy, you're not expending stamina. It's actually building up, so most of the time, it's going to be full. So even if you do charge shots, unless you've been holding the trigger for a long time, even after you let go for triple charge on the hammer, by the time you get the final swing in, it's going to benefit from this. So it's a great way to get an easy amount of affinity. It's a rarity 7, 2 slaughter. Now, at number 9, we have the Attack Jewel. Now, they give you this one, really early off on the game, and I've been playing over 500 hours in this game, and I have never gotten another one from the Elder Melder or Tempered Elders or any kind of mission ever. It's a rarity 7, 1 slaughter. And as you can see, it increases your attack by 3 each time, and after you get to level 4, it increases your affinity by 5%, which is great to have. You want to get to that at least level 4, whether you equip Dobermails or Nergigante, Waste, or whatever, including 1 or 2 attack jewels, just so you could get the affinity boost. It's great to have. Make sure you at least have it at level 4, to benefit from it. Plus, a little bit of extra attack is good. Now, at number 8 on the list, we have the Vitality Jewel. Now, as you can see, it increases health by 15, then by 30, then by 50. And now this also stacks with eating a good meal. So look at my health now. It's at 150. This is how your health usually looks after you eat. So, but here's the thing, I did not eat yet. So if I were to eat, and granted I had enough, good or fresh ingredients, I would have an extra 50. So 200 plus total health. Great for survivability. Very, very important jewel. The survival decoration. Rarity 6, small decoration, easy to get. Now, getting down to our top 7. For the 7th one, we have the Handicraft. Now, the Handicraft is an excellent decoration, paramount in getting your equipment into the white tier. Of course, the Death Stench boots help because they give you Handicraft plus 2, but also if you don't have that, you have a few big slots open and you're 1 or 2, levels away, then equip a few Handicrafts. They're rarity 8. 3 slaughters, and they look a lot like I said, brace jewels or 4 shots or earplugs, so it's a random thing every time. More often than not, you will be disappointed getting earplugs or brace jewels, but every now and then you will get a Handicraft and you will lose your mind whenever it happens. Trust me, you will. I've got 2 of them in the past and they are great to have. I love them. I love my white level of sharpness. Once again stated, rarity 8, large jewel. Now, coming in at number 6, we have the... Where are you? Coming in at number 6, we have the Elementalist Jewel. Now, this raises the attack of non-elemental weapons. Now, that's kind of vague, the attack of non-elemental weapons, come on, that could be anything, but what they don't tell you is that it massively raises the attack and scales, depending on what weapon it is. Now, let me show you where's my Diablo Shatterer? Okay, I'm at 1316, with my, or let's see, yeah, 1394 right now. Now, set decorations, current equipment, or I think I already had it equipped. Oop, my bad. Okay. I'm at 1274. Set decoration, current equipment. Let's get this back on. Where are you? So I go from 1294 to, or 1274 with it on to 1394, 1274 to 1394. That's over 100, points of damage easily just by equipping a rarity 6 medium-sized jewel. of course, as I stated, it scales depending on which weapon, so not all weapons will get that much of a, jump in attack. But just to show you, because we have a lot of hammer users out there. Hammer, greatsword obviously gives you the most of a benefit, but with all weapons, it gives you a nice bit of hunk of raw damage. Great to have, coming in at number 6, Now, coming in at number 5, we have the Critical Jewel. Where are you? Yes, the Critical Jewel. And as you can see, it increases damage dealt by critical hits by 30%. Now, it's good to have just one of these. Anything more than one is kind of a waste, because after that you see it scaling by 5. So it's 30, which is good. You want to be at that point. But afterwards it's 35 and 40. Kind of a waste at that level. So just get one in there. That way you get your plus 30% damage, by crits, and move on. But it is a rarity 8 medium-sized jewel, and that came in at number 5. Now, coming in at number 4, we have the Shield Jewel. I actually made a video specifically on the Shield Jewel showing you how just amazing this jewel is. Anything that guards, including heavy bow guns, or sword and shield. This plus a few guard levels, you're unstoppable. You could block any kind of attack. And I used NOG as my test subject. His lasers were nothing. Even with heavy bow gun, he didn't even shake me, doing no damage. Amazing jewel to have. Rarity 7, medium size. And now we are finally in our top 3 slots. What will I choose as our top 3 best decorations in Monster Hunter? Well, let's find out. Okay, at number 3 we have a rarity 6 decoration called the Tenderizer Jewel. Now, you'll recognize this skill influenced heavily by the Dragon King eye patch. It'll get you your first 2 levels. Throw in another one of these bad boys, and it will give you attacks that hit weak spots, 50% increase affinity. Now this is amazing, especially if you like your Diablos or your Devil Ho weapons, which give you -25, -30, -10, whatever kind of affinity. You hit a weak spot with nothing else that builds up your affinity, it will automatically give you, let's say you got -30 affinity, you hit a weak spot, it gives it with plus 50%, it'll give you plus 20% affinity, and that's with nothing else that increases your affinity. A great jewel to have, Tenderizer Jewel, keep it. One of my favorites, top 3. Now, for number 2 on the list, we have the Sharp Jewel. Now, the Sharp Jewel is one of my favorites, because after you have this thing equipped, after you sharpen a weapon, you'll see a actual glow around the box in the top left, and for exactly 60 seconds, nothing you can do will minimize the sharpness of the weapon. So go crazy with it, especially if you have the weapons that just touch white tier of sharpness, that just have just a sliver of that white tier sharpness. You want this, to keep it there as long as possible. Great to have. That's my number 2. Now, my number 1 on my list as far as the best decoration in Monster Hunter World is the Mind's Eye Jewel. Now, as you can see, this prevents attacks from being deflected and also shortens the distance before ammo and arrows can reach maximum power. Now, let's focus on that first part for our melee users. If you have this thing equipped, none of your attacks deflect. Nothing will. It is simply amazing to have. Let's see. I love this thing. You can go up to any target and just slash it to pieces. This is supposed to be a heavier or harder part of the monster, and even though it does less damage, you're not bouncing all over the place. How great is that? So the quickest way to get to an object is always going to be a straight line, So This way, you don't have to worry about, oh, the monster's looking at me. It's got horns. I can't hit it there. I gotta circle around it or wait till it... See? Look at that. That's terrible. I'm bouncing without it. Like, even in demon mode, it's terrible. Like, it'll really mess you up, you know? Not fun at all, you know? So the Mind's Eye Jewel is the best decoration in Monster Hunter World, in my opinion, because you don't have to worry about anything. You go straight through a monster, cut it like it's a hot knife through butter, and that's all she wrote. Now, what decorations would you guys have chose as far as your top 20, you know? Or what would you have included in the list, and what would you have omitted? I really appreciate you guys' time. Thank you all for it today. And once again, this has been Ryan Quillen, also known as the Medicine Man, with the cure to all of your gaming needs. And as always, y'all have a great day. Like and subscribe below. And I hope this video hasn't run too long. If you want a more detailed video on each and every decoration in the game, I made a separate decoration video on that. But this has once again been a top 20 of my favorite personal best decorations in Monster Hunter World, and y'all have a great day. Out.